How did the first humans cross an entire ocean? You are standing on a black volcanic beach in island Southeast Asia 65,000 years ago. The afternoon sun bakes the back of your neck. Behind you, surf grinds against the rocks in a constant, heavy roar. And in front of you, the ocean stretches out flat and gray toward a horizon with absolutely nothing on it. No land, no far shore. Just water. It runs for 100 kilometers and drops into a trench miles deep. Somewhere out past the curve of the Earth sits a continent. No human eye has ever seen it. No one knows for certain it is real. To reach it, you have to walk into the sea. Today, crossing an ocean is a ticket and a seatbelt. You sleep through it. For your ancestors, that ocean was a wall. Here is the problem. There was never a bridge. Even when Ice Age glaciers locked up the planet's water and sea levels crashed dozens of meters, a deep channel of open ocean still split Asia from the land we now call Australia. Geologists named the boundary the Wallace Line. It is one of the sharpest divides in the entire natural world. On one side, tigers, elephants, monkeys. On the other, kangaroos, wombats, and animals found nowhere else on Earth. For millions of years, the water was too deep and too wide for anything to cross. Elephants can swim. Tigers can swim. They never made it. So how does a hairless primate? Biologically, you are built to fail at this. You cannot drink the water around you. Salt kills faster than thirst. Your body bleeds heat into cool water roughly 25 times faster than into air. So a long swim is just slow hypothermia. You have no fins, no blubber, no echolocation. A sea turtle reads the Earth's magnetic field to find open ocean. A human floating in the swell with no shoreline in sight cannot even tell which way is forward. And the target was invisible. The destination sat below the horizon. You could not see it from the launch beach. You would be aiming a multi-day voyage at a landmass you could not see, could not smell, and had no proof existed. By every rule of biology, this was a one-way paddle into open water and oblivion. So humans broke the rules. The body could not make the crossing. So they stopped trying to carry the body. They carried it across. They looked at the forests behind the beach and saw the answer growing there. Bamboo. In tropical Asia, it grows thick as a man's thigh, sealed into airtight chambers along its length. It floats for weeks. It never waterlogs and sinks like solid wood. Lash a platform of it together with rattan and vine, and you have a craft that carries weight across open sea. Here is the catch. Bamboo rots. No 65,000-year-old raft survives anywhere on Earth. But the fingerprints do. In a cave called Asitau Kuru, once known as Jeremali, on the island of East Timor, archaeologist Sue O'Connor dug up fish bones dated to 42,000 years ago. They belonged to tuna. Tuna are fast, deep water fish. They do not live in the shallows. You cannot catch one from a beach. Catching tuna means paddling out into the blue, which means boats. In the same site, she found a fishing hook carved from shell, among the oldest ever discovered. The rafts are gone. The menu proves they existed. The target dropped below the horizon. They had no compass, no chart, no instruments of any kind. But to a trained eye, the ocean is not blank. Islands stack columns of cloud above their hidden peaks. A smudge on the sky that means land, long before you can see the land itself. Islands bend ocean swells into recognizable patterns you can feel through the hull. And seabirds fly out to feed at dawn and turn for home at dusk. Follow them, and they take you to shore. So they did not aim at one impossible target. They built the journey as a chain. Researchers reconstructed the ancient coastlines of this archipelago. Geographers call it Wallacea, at Ice Age sea levels. They found a stepping stone route. Most leaps were short, and from the high ground of one island, you could see the silhouette of the next. But not every leap. On every possible route, at least one open ocean crossing ran close to 100 kilometers, with the destination nowhere in sight. Several more stretched 20 to 30 kilometers across. This was not random drift. It was a readable road, and one terrifying gap where the road vanished. A single raft of castaways is a dead end. Two people swept out by a storm cannot populate a continent. They land, they age, they die, and the beach forgets them. So the first humans did not drift. They launched on purpose in numbers, again and again. In 2019, a team led by Corey Bradshaw modeled exactly how the crossing could have worked. The result was blunt. The odds of randomly washing ashore in Australia were below 5%. Unless dozens of adults were swept off an island roughly every 20 years, which never happened. But choose your moment, point the raft, and paddle at barely half a knot toward the destination, and the odds of arrival climb dramatically. The math only works if it was deliberate. And the population math demands more. To survive bad years and avoid genetic collapse, the founders needed numbers in the high hundreds, arriving not as lonely accidents, but in organized waves. Perhaps 130 people at a time, over generations. Someone went first. Someone survived. And someone sent word back across the water. The land is real. Come. The miracle was never one brave soul on a raft. It was the chain of trust behind them. Someone had to be first. To push off the last visible beach. To paddle into water that fell miles into darkness beneath them, aiming at a rumor. And someone had to stay on the shore behind, holding a single unbearable certainty. If the scouts never came back, the next raft would launch anyway. They carried more than bodies across that water. They carried fire, seeds, language, the names of their dead, and the memory of how to read a swell, a cloud, a bird at dusk. Every wave of people that touched the sand of a new continent was a library that had survived the open ocean. They taught their children which clouds meant land, which birds meant morning, which star held still while all the others wheeled around it. And for 65,000 years, that knowledge passed from hand to hand, straight down to you. A drink in your hand, never once afraid. A drink in your hand, never once afraid. You can do that because someone with no map and no proof stared at an empty horizon, decided the far land was real, and paddled toward it anyway. They bet their lives on the other side of the water, and over time, that was enough.